Hi, my name is Quisha Brown. Thank you so much for joining me here. And I am the creator of the Progressive Outcome Scale Logic Model Approach. This is one of my regular live streams. And the question being asked here today to me is how can nonprofits connect the dollars or the funding that they're getting to the outcomes that they are creating? So there was a time when I was a director for years, many years, over nonprofit programs serving marginalized communities. And it was always a challenge, a constant struggle to figure out the best way to determine our social return on an investment and what were we really being able to accomplish based on the funding and the money that we were receiving. And so you're obviously here on this video because you have that same question. What is the best way? And there's really no best way, but there are ways out there. And the way that I'm going to describe to you in just these short few minutes is one of the most greatest unique ways that and I'm not just saying that because it's part of the strategy of the progressive outcome scale logic model approach, but because it really captures your funding and how much money you're getting and connects that to the amount of people that you're really able to help. So the number one reason why many nonprofits struggle with being able to connect their outcomes or connect their dollars to their outcomes is that they have not identified targeted and measurable problems. So what do I mean by that? Well, of course, targeted, you know exactly what problems you're trying to impact, and you have to determine that by what? Talking to the community, giving needs assessments, or just however you gather that information. It's very important to be able to target the problems that you're trying to address through your programming. And once you have those, once you have that list of issues and that list of challenges, then you're ready. You're ready to start trying to figure out a way to connect your dollars to your outcomes, because your outcomes are essentially impacting those very specific and targeted problems that you've identified. And the progressive outcome scale logic model helps you to do just that. Now, I'm going to get into how, after you've developed your progressive outcomes scale logic model, how you use that information now to be able to calculate your social return on investment, or SROI, using the POSLO, short for Progressive Outcome Scale Logic Model. So what you're looking at here, and I need you to follow along with me, be very, pay attention, because this is going to be important. And this is a live stream, so you can always replay it if you need to. But what you're looking at is a progressive outcome scale logic model. I'm just going to kind of highlight some of the areas that I'll be talking about. So I'm just going to, and this isn't going to take a long time because I'm giving you like a really quick overview. But one of the differences between this type of logic model and the logic model, the traditional style logic model that you might be used to, is the way the outcomes are measured. They're measured progressively. And so you'll see here that the short term, the intermediate, the long-term outcomes are phrased differently. They're all phrased using stages. So what's meant by stages? If we look down below here at the outcome scale key, we can see that the stages actually refer to the percentage of indicators that are accomplished by individuals in your program. So let's say this program is a financial literacy course for economic stability up here at the top. And these are the needs that we've identified after working with and talking with people in the community to identify what type of needs do we want to impact. And so these 5, and there may be several more, depending on your organization, but these 5 are the indicators. The problem with going live, you have so many distractions that try to come up, but these are the indicators. So the first one we have here is demonstrates the ability to create and follow a realistic budget. The second one is to obtain a living wage or higher employment appropriate for the family size. Demonstrates negotiation skills to make realistic arrangements with creditors. Demonstrates the ability to identify savings options yielding relatively higher interest rates. And then the final one demonstrates the knowledge on how credit scores work and take the necessary steps to improve their credit scores. So apparently the needs assessment that was done for this particular logic model revealed information about individuals who are signing up for our program, not really knowing how to create and really follow a realistic budget. Many individuals going through our program don't have high living wage or living wage employment for their family size. They might not be able to make arrangements with their creditors, and they might be falling deeper in debt. And so those might have been some of the issues that we identified. But whatever the problems were that we identified, we put those into indicators, and they're used to be measured here in the progressive outcome skill logic model. And so as we reach each stage, that's how the measurement works. So you see in the short term, stage 1 is where most of the participants will be when they first start our program. And that could be within the first 2 weeks or however long the program is. The next intermediate, we're hoping that 85%, at least 85% of our participants in the program will reach stage 2 or higher. And then in the long term, that might be a year into the program, however long our program might be. That would mean that about 85% of our students would reach stage 3 of the participants in the program. And stage 3, again, we saw that scale P down here, and this is just explaining what those particular stages mean. So stage 1 is less than 70% of the indicators have been accomplished. Stage 2 is 70 to 90%. And then finally, stage 3 is mostly all of the indicators have been accomplished. And again, those indicators are stated here. And there may be several more, but because this screen is so small and I'm doing a short preview with you, it's a short list. So what do we do with that information? Quisha, how does that help us connect our dollars to our outcomes? So it was important for me to show you that part first so that I could get to this part, the meat. How do you connect your dollars to outcomes? And this is how you do it. So stay with me here. Let's say for our economic stability program, right? We had created a financial literacy class, like I just mentioned, and we received $2,000 in funding for that program. Now, go straight across, you'll see that financial literacy program there. The estimated number of people served that we were able to serve in that program, or that we'd like to serve, is about 50 people. Now, the program funding amount per person, we took that 50 people, and then we divided 10,000 by 50, and we got $200 per person. Now, when we look over in the stage area, the progressive outcome scale stages, we see stage 1 here, stage 2 here, and stage 3 here. So let's say participants reached stage 2. Then that would mean that we didn't quite use up all of that $200. So that would tell us that we need to maybe do a little bit more with that person because they're only at stage 3. They're only at stage 2, but our goal is to get them to stage 3, right? Because if we get them to stage 3, then we have successfully used up that entire $200 for that individual person. And that goes for each person in the program. Let's say we have a person that is at stage 1 and we just can't seem to get them to accomplish any of the other indicators, and we can't get them to move from those indicators just those little tiny indicators more than 70%. We can't get them to do that. That's telling us that there's something wrong there, that there's some type of other interventions that are needed. It's telling us that first and foremost, but it's also telling us that our dollars are not being, the return on investment is not good there. There's something that we need to look at there. And so that's just to give you kind of a quick overview example of how the progressive outcomes theologic model can be used to help nonprofits, especially working with a marginalized community and working with people to help them to overcome certain obstacles or to bring them out of poverty or to increase their health or whatever the challenge may be that you're helping communities to do. There is a way for you to simply and practically be able to connect your dollars to outcomes. And so if you want to know more about the progressive outcomes theologic model approach and how to build your own progressive outcomes theologic model, the entire process is laid out in my practical guidebook entitled Racial Equity Lens Logic Model and Theory of Change. Also, I go live sporadically throughout the week and every week on Tuesday, as long as it doesn't fall on a holiday, at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to helping you in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye. And I hope this has been helpful.